All right, we're gonna be trying this out. You're like, where is he? Now, hello there. Let me just make sure that I'm right here in shot. Again, new style. Let me know what you guys think of this new style video. But today we'll be talking about the Memphis Grizzlies, potentially one of the most dangerous teams in the NBA. Now, let's get right into today's video and talk about the Memphis Grizzlies, who, after an injury marred campaign, are now returning and are a team that I would say you should kind of be scared of because I think they have it all. As you guys know, I'm a huge Santi Aldama fan. I've been saying it for years that as this guy has continued to scale up his production, he has shown that, hey, he's somebody who could really thrive if given the opportunity. They currently sit with a record of 16-8, which is third in the conference. By the way, let me know what you guys think of like this whole new format where we're currently testing it out. And I know some people don't like Taylor Jenkins. I kind of like Taylor Jenkins, and I think last year's season, which they had an unprecedented challenge of an NBA record of 31 players suiting up for them as a result of injuries. Obviously, Ja Morant's suspension, and then of course the season-ending shoulder injury didn't help their case. Desmond Bane only played 42 games. Marcus Smart played 20 games. I think it's like Marcus Smart has played like less than 50 games with the Grizzlies since coming there. But hey, this year they're significantly more healthy and they currently rank second in points per game, 121.4, and are third in rebounds with 47.7, which I think is just going back to what they were at. People forget that before last year, this was a team that back-to-back seasons was a second seed in the Western Conference. It was nothing to sneeze at, all right? They weren't sitting there being a team that was just playing bad. They weren't. They were always a squad that I thought should prove that they were quite capable, and they felt like the only thing holding them back was not to be rude, but like maturity and just experience. And Ja Morant is reminding people and who he was and what type of player he was becoming. He's at an MVP form. He's averaging 21.7 points, 8.5 assists, and averaging 4.5 rebounds per game while shooting 45.7% from the field. And we saw this athleticism and explosiveness, which is ironic that he said he's going to stop dunking and then just has that reverse. But against Boston, where he dropped 32 points, 9 assists, and 9 rebounds, almost had a triple double. And this was able to snap the 10-game losing streak in Boston that Memphis had. And the best thing is that Jaren Jackson Jr. is finally. So it was first couple years Jaren Jackson Jr. like showed off his scoring and rebounding, and then kind of like the scoring efficiency went down and the rebounding kind of disappeared, and he became an incredible defender. But now over the last few years, his 3-point shot and the scoring have returned, and the rebounding is so. But like he's 22 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks. It just felt like every time at the end of the game, the Celtics were trying to score. Mr. Jaren Jackson Jr. was out there just blocking the shots, making it impossible for the Celtics to score and to be able to play a, I guess you would say, an efficient offense. Now, I want to hear your opinions if you guys agree with me on that one. The rest of it, I think, obviously, Desmond Bane, who, despite his limited availability this season, and he's only averaging 14.5 points and 6 rebounds, 4 assists, but primarily hasn't been the scoring shooting year that it typically is for a Desmond Bane. I think as a result, besides injuries last year and just how it's been, and I think him playing for the Spanish national team really, really, really helped him, was Santiago Aldama. 13.7 rebounds. He's a point shoot dribble guy. I've said it for a while now, especially if they don't re-sign him this offseason. He's the type of guy that somebody's going to poach, and people are going to be like, oh, they overpaid him, and then he's going to potentially be like an all-star. That might be me over. But he's the type of guy that if he does get the usage rate and the opportunity on another team, I'm not saying Lowry marketing, but a similar trajectory. Again, like Lowry is really good, and I just don't want to like put that type of expectations. But like just the guy's good. And you know who's another really good guy? Jalen Wells. Everybody's talking about Dalton Connect. And of course, Jaron McCain. But Jalen Wells, and I've said this before, he's the best coming out of the draft or coming into the draft, he was the best 3-point shooter coming out of Washington State since Klay Thompson. That was not me just trying to say that for rhetoric. That is actually a thing, and I think you guys are seeing it. He's also way better of a defender than I thought he was. And one of the worst things is I could have spoken to him at the combine. We kind of spoke for like half a second, but I was trying to get all other people's interviews, and I spoke to everyone except Jalen Wells. So, man, do I feel bad about that one. I should have spoken to him, is what we're like. Also, am I in focus? Like looking, I can't see fully here. I'm also being blinded by multiple lights. Let me know if I'm in focus. We'll find out later. But it looks like from the distance I'm in focus. Now, the rest off the bench, Scottie Pippen Jr. is actually a 6-man of the year candidate. 10, almost 11 points, 5 assists. Defensive dog. Does some good playmaking. Laravia figuring out. I mean, if you can figure out how to shoot a free throw, that'd be nice. But beggars can't be choosers. And I think one of the things is that Jake Laravia and where were we? My apology. I actually had to handle something. So, as we were saying, I think one of the most interesting things, Jake Laravia, first up, defensively, I think he's great. He's a guy kind of like their Swiss Army knife at times. He can put the ball on the deck, pass it a little bit, spaces the floor. Arguably, he plays like every position that isn't point guard or center. Like he's a combo forward. He doesn't play shooting guard, but you know what I mean. He kind of like he's on the outside a lot and is just filling in for either it be Desmond Bain, Santi Aldama. Other times it can be out there for Jaren Jackson Jr. if they're going Santi, and he's able to play with multiple guys in the roster. So I think that's one of the more interesting. You can play alongside Jalen Wells, and you can play alongside Scottie Pippen. So I think that's a big thing about his piece is just how he fits amongst the rotations. And with Taylor Jenkins, he's clearly emphasizing this team's strengths in transition and paint scoring. They lead the league currently in paint points, and they outscored their opponents 64-40 against Boston in the paint. And this is just their aggressive, impose our will, be physically imposing, and that'll demoralize our opponents as we'll just grind them down. As I think he's effectively utilizing Jackson and Santi Aldama, for example, both of them basically be 7-footers, and Aldama being able to put the ball on the deck. It allows them to guard inside and out, have honestly a positionless lineup that also hides some of Ja Morant's defensive, deficiencies. Not saying he's a terrible defender. It's just he's not the biggest guy in the world, so there's going to be things. And they're able to grab the rebounds and capitalize on fast break opportunities. And I think the way that Jenkins is able to adapt players depending on the matchup or how injuries or their flows is really something that is key to this team's success. As well, Marcus Smart, he's a guy that seems to be leading the team, and he's struggling to shoot right now. But I think he's helping Jalen Wells and Scottie Pippen's defensive attitude and just being able to develop while being competent role players on a team that has potentially championship aspirations, as the Grizzlies are 4th in net rating in the league, 7.9 to be exact, and they're holding opponents to the 3rd lowest shooting percentage of 43.8%, which they're shooting 48.7%, so that's like a 5.5% swing in their favor. So with them being an elite rebounding team that is moving the ball well, shooting the ball well, I think having Ja Morant playing at an MVP level, Jaren Jackson Jr. being the two-way guy, Santi Aldama right now is a 6-man of the year candidate as well. It's like they have 3 guys. I think they're just a team that clearly should be a nightmare for their Western Conference foes. And that's my question. I think after last season's setbacks, they allowed them to regroup, retool, figure out what they need to do, and they've emerged stronger with a healthier roster with the right leaderships. And they have all the tools to contend for a championship. And I feel like over the last few seasons, we've seen numerous teams go for championship, runs, and I think that's a result of the parity in the league. But that's it. Let me know what you guys thought of this style of video. Oh damn, was I really that off this whole end video part? Fuck me. That's it. Bye guys. I hope you guys enjoy.